Welcome, 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 and welcome once again. It is your boy, Mr. Hops, back on the mic for the Challenger playoffs, and I am joined by the beautiful man who has the most beautiful hair in the world. That man is Vector. How are you doing, my friend? I don't think he realizes, but you're muted, mate.
I'm apparently muted because I don't remember things, but I'm doing well. Hop. I'm looking forward to some great challenger matches. I've already had quite a few that have happened tonight, but we're going to be starting off with the upper final, a best of five between Nezuko and Spark. The first and second seed, they didn't have too much trouble getting here. One was a 3-1 for Nezuko and a 3-0 for Spark. Do you reckon that they're going to have trouble against one another? That they're going to end up in a best of five here?
I think this could go the whole way. You know, we know Nezuko game, they've been strong. They've been really strong throughout this whole season. But Spark, on the other hand, when things get going for them, when they start getting moving, finding space on the ball, they are lethal. So, it's a sort of, I really do think it's a momentum game. This one, whoever finds the momentum first, that could be dangerous territory for the opposition. But this is going to be a game five. I want it to be a game five. We want good Rocket League here. What do you about yourself? What's your guts telling you?
Well, game five is definitely what my gut's telling me. Like you said, it's just there's some of the players on this team they're so good. It's a little ridiculous for the challenger tier. I mean, I don't know it as well as a lot of other players might, but I like to think that I know Rocket League. And when I've watched these teams play throughout the season, you can clearly tell they are the best of their tier. That some could even play minor if they played their best every single day. So the way this is going to go, I mean, I have to give it to Nezuko just because they're first seed, just because they earned that in league play, and it's looking like they're going to be the stronger of the two sides, especially looking at the stats that we have for them. The goals for is insane. They have a ton of saves, not quite as many as Spark as looking at the stats, but sometimes that can show that Spark are a little less strong in the midfield, and that could be the difference between the teams.
Definitely. And we have the stats on the screen right now, and it, it as you're saying, it definitely favors Nezuko Gang. They seem far more comfortable, especially in almost every single facet. But I mean, what is nice from Spark is that they. It's pretty almost identical shooting percentage. And when it comes to this high level competitive Rocket League, you've got to be putting away these shots. You've got to be making these goals count and your opportunities count. And I think if Spark want to take, Nezuko Gang down, it's going to come from them capitalizing on the opportunities that they find themselves in. If they don't capitalize on it, then Nezuko Gang, they will happily run away with this series. We know how good Nezuko Gang's defense can be, and their counter attack and the speed they have. And I just, I think that's the way in for Spark.
I mean, that might be the way in for them, but they're really going to have to look out for Minty here. 110 goals in 82 games through league play is ridiculous. A 40% shooting percentage over 82 games. I mean, who is this guy? He's insane at the game, obviously. And down in the challenger tier, I think it's harder to find goals than people might think, just because of obviously the shooting gets a little less accurate, a little less consistent. But to have that many goals against teams that you would think were more defensive on the overall, especially with some of the save counts that we've seen, 100 from Woozy Panda there, 103 from Axel, and looking at the game counts on the side of that, putting it up next to one another, you'd think that they won't be able to get over on each other, that they won't be high scoring games, but it's different Rocket League, it's playoff Rocket League, it's elimination Rocket League. Both of these teams had to get to this point. It's not been just given to them. They've earned it, and I think they're going to have a tough time against one another. I'm hoping for a game five, and I'm certainly expecting one.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And just going over these player stats, I don't think we have them on the screen just yet. But you're completely right. The player to look out for in this series has to be Minty. His capability in scoring goals is just unparalleled. But at the same time, we say it whenever we cast together. This is a team game. Minty's not going to be slotting away the goals. If he's not going to be given the opportunities to. And you just look at Woozy Panda and Pyro. They have 63 and 64 assists, respectively. That is double pretty much everybody else on the Spark side. That that in itself is just showing the chemistry and the team play that Nezuko gang have above and beyond almost everyone.
Yeah, it's a team game through and through. There's no way to score. I mean, unless you do ridiculous, solo mechanical aerial plays, but that doesn't give you 110 goals. You need assists. You need that
Mm,
setup play. Those playmakers flanking you by your side, and sometimes it's not even necessarily an assist, like a direct pass to one another.
mm,
It can be a disruption, a bump, a demo, all these kinds of things that add up to this ridiculous shooting
mm.
percentage that Minty's managed to accumulate. So
Yeah.
he got a 3-1 over the Obscure in the first round. So
Mhm.
hopefully we'll be able to continue that run of form.
Exactly, exactly, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out swinging the hardest. And guys in chat, yeah, I can see you. I'm gandering my eyes over you. Please let me know your predictions. I'd love to hear your thoughts on who's going to come out on top. Following that, Victor, what's your prediction? If I had to, I have to put you on the spot here. I can't. I have to do it. All right. What's your prediction for this series?
Well, looking back at the bracket before this matchup, Nezuko went 3-1 against the Obscure. I didn't see the exact scorelines in each game, but the fact that the Obscure managed to take a game off them, 4 seed, that shows a little bit of weakness. I mean, maybe it's just a fluke. It was completely out of the blue, and they didn't expect it. Game one
Mm,
jitters, game two jitters, that kind of thing.
mm,
It
mm,
could have been anything. But just based on that, I think Spark could have seen a little bit of blood in the water potentially, and they'll look to try and get one over Nezuko. Their mentality might be a bit shifted there. They might think, we lost the game. Is that something that you bounce back from, that you get stronger from? Or does it put a knock into your confidence, and you start to think, maybe we're not as
mm,
invincible as we potentially could have been going into
mm,
the playoffs. And especially in the lower bracket as well, seeing that the Obscure went down to Vauxhall Zafira
mm.
in that game 5, that the 4 seed is out now, and there's a resurgent team coming up from the lower bracket. Do you think that's something that affects teams' mentality, especially in a tier such as Challenger?
I mean, I think challenge is quite difficult to kind of read that. When it comes to like upper echelon tiers, major elite, is what I'm talking about. When you're in playoffs, you're playing the team you're playing. You know, it doesn't matter who you're going to beat. Your goal is to beat that team. You know, it does. There's no uh, you don't have any mental block or mental obscurity because your goal is to win, regardless of who you're playing. However, Challenger, that could be an element that could bring in a level of overconfidence. There could be a level of, oh gosh, what are these guys? Are they just hotter than us? Or, maybe on, yeah, as I was saying, on the polar side, it could be that doubt that sets into your mind that maybe, yeah, we're good, but these guys, on a hot streak that we're not. And I think this game is really going to come down to that kind of momentum shift, that momentum element. If a team or a player is scoring against you, that made their way up through the whole bracket and through the whole league, um, then and you go down, that really can plant some doubt in your mind because you may come into it thinking you should win, but actually no game is gifted. You have to earn it, and so there definitely are elements of it at challenger level. I think there is going to be a mix of players throughout the whole of challenger scene that will have different effects than we. Obviously, we have experienced veterans in challenger, whilst we also have some young guns, some young noobs, and so that can really be a difference maker. So it's difficult. It's difficult to predict here. I mean, I really can't tell.
You're absolutely right. It's a developed skill, that discipline, that mentality of understanding that you can only beat who's put in front of you. You can't let doubts creep into your mind about who we might end up playing later on. Because if you don't play right now, there's a chance you may not be playing at all later on down the line. So you've got to be careful with that, and it's
Yeah.
something that I think is less developed the lower you get in the tiers. As just any skill is in the game, that understanding of the mental side of the game, where it's less about dexterity and mechanical skill,
Mm,
uh, and not even so much just game sense and awareness, but awareness of yourself, staying focused and staying concentrated when you're trying to beat your opponent. It's
mm,
the psychological aspect is something that I think is looked over a lot. it's something that's more prevalent for coaches, for example, or potentially subs that come in and talk about these things. I don't know if those things are necessarily leaned upon in a casual league like RSC. I don't think most teams go over replays and talk about what they could have done better or whatever after matches. It depends. Potentially the best teams in the league are the ones that do that, but it's something that has a massive effect on your gameplay, especially for such a fast-paced game as Rocket League. It looks like we're going to have to do a little bit of a remake in the lobby, but we should get into the match as soon as possible.
I believe Evie was struggling to join the lobby. I mean, as was I actually prior to getting in. But these. I mean, Retty, you're a really experienced player. You're a top end Rocket League player. As much as I like to flirt with you, it's true, fact. And so, what I'd quite like to ask you, with these sort of delays in playoffs and in high contention matches, does that have any sort of effect on your mental edge?
I mean, I think it has to. I mean, personally, in playoff, I didn't do too well in elite playoffs personally this season. But fighting through league play to actually get into a top 4 spot, I think, ended up in 3rd. Just understanding that idea of next game mentality, of always thinking forward, of being able to control yourself in game. I know there were plenty of times where myself and my teammates either got a bit dejected, demoralized in the middle of series, or like nothing was going our way, and you have to be so disciplined to keep up communication, keep up that spirit, because if you don't, then it affects how you play. You feel like you're playing worse when you're not. You're only playing worse because you think that you're playing worse, and it's just a sort of a domino effect. More particularly about the waiting times between matches. I don't know if that affects the best kind of players. They might just go and sit in free play. They might do some in-house scrims kind of thing, like with the sub, for example, maybe a 2v2. But every player is different. Every player responds to it differently, and I think it has a big effect at the end of the day. But it's hard to tell, especially for individual players. And then you put those players together in teams, and it's even more complicated. So I think it's something you have to really get in depth with to understand the nuances.
Indeed, and we're just trying to get ourselves into the lobby, and so I'm looking away from the camera right now. I do apologise profusely. But chat, it's lovely to see everybody here right now. I can see people trying to flirt with me. People seem to like me in a shirt right now. I don't see why. Guys, I'm sat next to possibly one of the most beautiful men in the RSC, Vector. Give him, guys, send him some love.
I think you need to give yourself some more credit, Hobbs. Come on.
Well, I mean, have you seen your hair? However, as I am nonchalantly talking about chat, we are about to get into the game. I am so excited about this, Vector. And what your score over? Your score prediction overall. What is it going to be?
I do believe I avoided the questions somehow. I managed to get around that. You remembered. I think it's going to go 3-2 Nezuko. In the end, it's going to go to Game 5. Could go either way, but that is my prediction.
So 3-2. You said 3-2 Nezuko. Interesting stuff. I'm going to be devil's advocate here. I think Spark are going to be mighty spicy, and I think they're going to take it 3-1. I think this Nezuko gang, this Spark team, have so much untapped potential. If they can hit like their Super Saiyan stride, they are going to run away with it. And right now we're seeing Evie putting some pressure on. Nice little pop up in front of the goal. A demo dispatcher almost getting the shots out, and this is what I'm talking about, Vector. They can do it.
Beautiful counter attack from the Spark, almost finishing that one off. Another one from Evie, another one from Dispatch. Doesn't quite get it on target, but clearly they're tapping into that potential that you said that they have. They're starting to control the midfield game a lot as well, beating Nezuko down to a lot of these 50 plays, and that can be the difference maker in the end across all the games in the series, whether you can get to the ball quickly enough. And we'll just have to see how Nezuko react to these demo and bump plays as well.
And that's There's a bit of an adaptation process, especially if you're used to playing in a league where bumps and demos aren't as heavy. But this Sparkside definitely looking to put some into action as Axel gets a nice save off Woozy Panda shot. Evie trying to follow up into the air, but a brilliant block coming out from Minty allows Panda to turn on the ball, pop it high. He's going to go for a challenge onto Axel. Axel decides to tap it off his own backboard. Pyro not able to get the shot that he needs to as Evie decides to catch it herself. Brilliant touches and brilliant defense overall. And right now, it's just seeming back and forth as Minty was getting a nice bump onto Evie. Gave an opportunity for a shot, but nothing does come of it. Pyro trying to do a bit of an aerial magic right here, but Axel saying no, not wanting anything of it. And Evie right now is definitely being that front, that front person aggressor. It's lovely to see from her.
It was a decent clear to the corner, but Axel had free reign to put that anywhere he wanted. Didn't quite get the second touch off. However, a chance gone on. It's back. Good control there from Panda, trying to keep this one alive, but it's straight back down to Evie. She's controlling this, got it past one. Doesn't quite have the second, as waiting for the 50 from Minty. His defensive prowess. Controlling this here, but it's free off the backboard. Dispatcher just missing out. If Spark can find some of these second touch plays, they are not being countered by Nezuko.
They are not being counted whatsoever right now. Nezuko, they're a little bit cold. Only time will tell. Dispatcher doing a nice touch of the ball. And you see Evie flying in. He almost able to slide it into the back of the net. Axel tries to push another shot on. Woozy Panda is there. But this Sparkside needs to rotate back faster. Not the greatest touch from Dispatcher on that backboard has allowed Pyro to come in and slot one straight into the back of the net. A brilliant counter stack coming out of Nezuko gang, and Dispatcher and Evie, you guys, you gotta make those saves. Pyro though with a brilliant placement will take Nezuko gang 1-0 up in this first game.
We finally have first blood, and it's come first from Nezuko. Something we expected to see, I think. I mean, I definitely expected to see them take the first goal. I was unlucky for Dispatcher there to not be able to get another touch, but he does need help from his teammates. Like you said, him and Evie linking up on the defensive side is an issue. There's 2v1 for Nezuko. Evie just managed to get a touch there, but it's straight down to Panda, who goes for the free shot, but Dispatcher back in time to the corner and back to another as Evie has time. A little bit of space. Doesn't have quite as much boost as he would like to in that play, but did a lot to allow his team to rotate and get boost, but straight back up the field. It's another one for Pyro. It's a bit of an awkward spot, and it will not have enough to put this one away. I think Nezuko have had the control for the most part, obviously taking the lead with about a minute left to go, and another one almost a double tap from Minty. But Spark are there. They can get something from this.
100%, and this shot does go on, but Minty being fresh as always and slotting and saying no. Getting that save, going on this counter, trying to do something with it, but a brilliant job from Evie as he's able to get that block. But what is so impressive about this Nezuko gang side is that, yeah, they understand that they don't need to be going for like 9-10 goal win games, you know. They just have to be playing consistent. They don't need to do anything stupid here. They've got to make sure their rotations are clean and they are capitalizing on the aggression. That's what they're doing. They're being consistent, sensible Rocket League. They're not going risks, playing any risks, which is what a large amount of teams do. And you see right there, Minty playing perfectly patient. However, Evie denies this 1-goal win with 10 seconds remaining and slots it nice into the back of the net. And this is what kind of reminisce what I was saying. Nezuko gang, they're not making any mistakes. However, Spark, they are putting so much pressure on. It's only a matter of time until they score. As Evie doing such a good job at putting pressure on really fast. Can Axel get a shot off? It goes off the backboard and just making it awkward. And you see with 2 seconds remaining, Spark, they scored another! Victor, what is going on?
2 goals within 15 seconds at the very end of game 1. It's all falling apart from Nezuko. And you talked about the Nezuko gang having patience, having control and discipline. It doesn't matter. The patience ran out from Spark. They wanted to get this game going as they take the first one in the series. They are here to play. They do not give a damn what the seeding says. They are here to win.
Unbelievable scenes coming out of the side of Spark. They just don't want to lose, and a lot of people saying that Nezuko going through at the end there. Vector, do you agree with this throwing statement?
I mean, you said that they didn't make many mistakes. It was a mistake from Minty on his the touch to allow that first goal to go in. He expected his teammates to be in some sort of position to deal with the aftermath of that, but they weren't. And then the next one, I think it was just a knock to the system. You know, getting a haymaker across the bow. You don't expect it. You think, oh, we're so in control, we're so far up. But if you don't score a bunch of goals, that risk is always there that they can easily come back and take the game. I mean, I expected an overtime at one point there, but Spark just lit the flame, as they do, you know?
Mm. Lit the flame indeed. I like that cheeky little pun you threw in there. Makes me very, very happy. It's Spark lighting up high, taking this victory, clutching up and icing up when they need to. And it's brilliant job from them indeed. And this is a second game. I mean, Nezuko gang, maybe they came off a little bit too confident. Maybe they settled too much into those Uru boots. And they lost in the final couple of seconds. But here the kickoff goes. Evie able to come away with that kickoff touch, and Pyro being himself awkwardly not able to get a touch away. And Evie once again being this first aggressor, this person pushed up the furthest on the Spark side, and making so difficult for Nezuko to do anything in the midfield. Axel is there looking to maybe pop it into the center, goes for a flick, not the best of flicks, it lands straight on Panda. Unable with the easy touch, Evie able to pull it up into the center, push it over to Axel where Minty is there to capitalize on the defense. Now Pyro's opportunity to do something with the ball, tries to fly forward, doesn't have any boost to work with, leaving Evie with a free touch indeed. Evie now, is he going to go to do something? Is he going to pop it up high? He does, plays it off the bad ball in there to follow it up. Axel is there, puts a shot onto the goal, but just plays it wide. Unfortunate. Axel needs to put that one into the back of the net.
The third man offense from Spark lighting up right now. I mean, I saw Dispatchio and Eevee moving up the field together, almost like a double-pronged attack. You didn't know which player was going to take the ball, who was going to take a shot, and it froze the entirety of the Nezuko down defense. Stuck on their own goal line. They were not punished. And you feel like if you don't take those opportunities that you create for Spark, then Nezuko's going to hit back. I mean, we saw it in the last game that they controlled it pretty much from start to finish, and then the last 30 seconds, Spark just took it away from them, and we'll have to see if Spark get it the first goal, they take first blood in the second game. If it will change up how this entire series progresses as a whole. But Uzi Panda comes in for this. The ball's just left out in the corner. I don't know how this one went in, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that just came out of nowhere, to be honest with you. It looked like Spark were going to teeing up for a counter-attack, but Uwu Easy Panda able to just find an opening and really capitalizing on that. And once again, though, we saw Nezuko Gan take a goal lead in the previous game, but they threw it away. So these one-goal leads, they are never safe, especially when you're playing at this caliber of Rocket League. Minty, though, doing a nice little job of faking out his touch. Evie popping it nice and high once again. Woozy Panda is up early. Dispatcher trying to go off the ball, plays it over to the center. Axel is there waiting, but Evie goes for the shot instead. Plays it off the backboard. Axel trying to follow up with a brilliant save coming out from Minty, I believe. Pyro trying to get that second touch, trying to get this clearance. However, not able to do it. Evie putting a brilliant shot on, but Panda once again making a fantastic save. And right now, what was going on there? Why was the shot not taken? What Nezuko just looking complacent?
The counter just wasn't quick enough. They didn't have the boost to get up the field. They keep finding themselves in great 2v1 situations after that Spark attack. They send the entire team up, and Nezuko just don't have the boost to get back out of their own half. I think Spark's doing a great job controlling the back 100 pads as well. Another one from Panda, almost got a 2-goal lead there. I think that's definitely what they need. 1 or 2 more goals just to secure this. They know how dangerous Spark can be with these players. Another one from Eevee off the crossbar, but it's followed up by Axel. None of the Nezuko defense can get there. We have a tie game.
Oh my word. Eevee with a brilliant placement. Playing off the backboard. He must have got a call out from his teammate, giving an indication that Axel was there to slot that one in, and it's Ignite. I feel like they are constructing goals, and yet on the other side, Nezuko again, they seem to be just stealing them. Does that make sense? They just seem to be finding opportunities and just taking them for almost opportunistic goals. However, this Spark side, they're constructing really well manifested goals, and they seem to be much more composed than the Nezuko gang side.
Yeah, I saw a couple crossfield passes to set up the plays here. This is rolling back onto it. Pyro should have it under control. He does just manage to get that out. But yeah, like you said, it seems a lot more control from Spark. I think we see them quite as a heavy pressure offensive side. Another one almost goes in if you've got a touch that was going far corner when no defender would have been. They're just controlling everything in the midfield. You can clearly see that the communication is there. They're recognizing when they need to stay up the field. Another one from Axel. Minty really got lucky there. And the only reason their goal went in, I think, was I think it was Axel that was the last man back who got kind of pushed off the play by a disruption from Nezuko, and that's what left it open for Panda to finish off. But I've seen very little from Nezuko in terms of actually setting things up deliberately and having any sort of intent going through the midfield, and it's scrappy defense at the moment. They're lucky that they're not more than one goal down.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more right now. Zuzi Panda does have an opportunity to put a shot on, but the touch was not strong enough. Evie was there to make that save. Dispatcher, though, trying to come off the backboard, just puts pass into the centre. Axel tops it forward, tried to flick it up, but Pyro doing a really good job of reading it. However, Evie, being that third man right now, puts it over. Once again, the pressure falling back into the Sparks' hands, trying to get another goal with this 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Who's going to take this game to? Pyro trying to put it forward. Nezuko Gang with opportunity here to do something with this ball. However, it's cleared very, very well. Minty having to get a bit of an awkward touch, playing off the back, but the sideboard where his teammate Panda was waiting. The ball goes flying over into the corner. A nice rotation from Dispatch, who's going to clean that up. But Minty trying to go for that early challenge. Ruzi Panda and Minty did end up in the same corner, so not the best for this side of the Nezuko Gang. And what a save from Minty, clutching up at the end. That was almost a certain goal. Ruzi Panda going off the sidewall, going for a flip reset. Can he do anything with it? No, he can't, because Evie's read it really well. And it looks like this is going to go to overtime. And it has done. What a brilliant, brilliant set of plays at the back end of regulation. But who is going to have the ice in the vein to save it? As Axel does miss a bit of an easy touch, with Spacho doing a really good job of slowing it down.
As the old saying goes, fortune favors the bold. And Spark is certainly bold right now. Pyro almost doesn't clear this. Gets it across to the side. It was decent from him. He's going back up the field, but again, they're just not having the control. It's a decent play up the field, but there's nothing there to follow it up. It's almost always landing at another Spark player's feet. As Panda does well to get this past Axel. Minty gets it past the second, but Evie's there just about. Pyro off to the crossbar. Can Panda get there? No! Evie clears it off the edge of his box. Just about managing to keep this one. Well, tied up. It's still in overtime. It's a goal situation as they double commit to try and get something more. Dispatcho gets the third man. Minty's open, which means that Panda has to deal with it.
That was such a clutch save and clutch touch from Evie. That would have been a goal for certain otherwise. So still in overtime. It's been a minute. Who's going to come out on touches at top as Axel trying to put some pressure on Dispatcho, going flying forward for the touch, keeping the pressure onto Nezuko Gang. Axel doing a really good job of reading the touch from Minty. The ball is played under him by Pyro. Evie with a brilliant pinch across goal. Dispatcho is there trying to get a read on it, and whether nothing comes of it. And now Nezuko Gang going to have a bit of a free touch in the middle, trying to put some pressure on. But that touch right there from Minty, that is just throwing it away from Pyro. They just threw away that touch, and it's given the opportunity for Dispatcho to score a counter-attack goal. Right now, the Nezuko Gang, I was talking about how clean they were playing, but they just look scattered. They just don't look confident.
I mean, Dispatcho finished this one off, but I feel like it was all Evie, the setup from him. I mean, he didn't actually get a touch. It was unassisted in the end, but it was the threat. It was scaring those defenders, trying to make them think that he had a touch to go for the early shot, but leaving it behind for Dispatcho coming out of the midfield. And it's what Spark is so good at. They recognize when the team isn't quite, the play isn't going to develop quite how they like, and they just improvise. They just get into positions where they know the ball is probably going to end up, and even if it doesn't, they trust their rotation to be able to get back in time. They don't need to counter-attack necessarily. They just know that they have quicker rotations than Nezuko, and it's completely controlling the play at the minute.
It really, really is. Brilliant plays all around from Spark right now. And we're just looking at the end of the game stats, and Spark, they're so impressive. They had 2-4, they had 10 shots against Nezuko Gang's 4. I mean, when we looked at the pre-game stats vector, we were convinced that Nezuko Gan were going to be, I think it was convincingly showing the stats that Nezuko Gan were almost going to run away with this. But Spark, they just looked completely in control. They had 10 shots. They only need to make 2 saves, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we know this Spark offense. We know how much pressure they can put on. It's why Nezuko had so many saves. But it's the midfield play that's impressed me so much. Even when one of them gets demoed out mid-rotation, even when they're not quite sure the play's going to work out, when they double commit or push up at the wrong time or miss position, it still works out for them because Nezuko just don't adapt quickly enough to the play. From what we've seen, I don't think Minty's got a single goal in this series after 110 in league play, and that's quite amazing. I mean, it's first and second seed. This is as close as you might expect it to get in playoffs, in the upper final, for the most part. So it's kind of strange that we're seeing Spark take this series so well. I mean, it's only been 1-goal games so far, but Nezuko are going to need to step up because we're on match point as Dispatchio puts this one away off the crossbar.
Oh my diddly dee. What I mean, and this was every single player on Spark had a touch of the ball to set that up, and we cannot overlook the beautiful finish from Dispatcho, just dunking it into the top left-hand corner. Beautiful play indeed. Is Panda actually almost able to get a kick-off goal, not able to follow up with another touch. It's going to give Dispatcho an opportunity to counter-attack. He decides to aerial play it off the backboard, gets 2 touches almost into the center for his teammates, and every single time that Spark gets a touch on the ball, they look so dangerous. Dispatcho has gone up once again, able to get that 50-50, trying to get the bump onto Panda, almost does so. Axel putting a nice touch once again, putting it into the corner of the Nezuko gang's half. Evie trying to put some pressure on, but he tries to fake it, and Axel there following up with another touch, plays it over into center, nobody able to get a shot. Unfortunate for him, Pyro trying to do his best to clear the ball along with Woozy Panda, and they do so. Pyro following up, going off the sidewalk. Can anyone there to follow up with a shot? No. Axel there making a nice save off his own backboard to get that touch away, and he's able to follow it up, putting another shot onto goal. But the rotations from Woozy Panda's safety, keeping them the goal deficit just 1. But Vector, I have to ask you, what do Nezuko gang need to do here to bring this game back?
Well, they need to play more as a team. As you can see, a Panda going for this off the corner. Both of his teammates have to rotate and get boost. No one's back, but this one just rolls in. I mean, I said they need to play as a team. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just need the caster curse to destroy the Sparks defense.
Caster curse is a real thing, and it's a scary thing. But as you were saying, they need to they need to be working more as a team. I mean, does that come out from demos, or do you think it's a comms thing?
It's always comms. That's where it always begins. You've got to know where your teammates are. You've got to know how much boost they have, who's going for the ball. You've got to avoid these double commit situations. That could have been a direct pass from Pyro to Panda, but it wasn't quite controlled enough, and that's part of the issue. They expect these plays to come out, they get into position for them, but then when they don't appear, when they don't happen, they need to be able to improvise and adapt a lot quicker. It's what Spark have been so good at doing. Even when the team plays don't work out, it's like a bump from Dispatcho takes out the third man, and Axel's just there to follow it up. They trust each other so implicitly when these plays come out that Nezuko just can't do anything about it.
And that was such a good bump, such a good play. And guys, if you're in chat, please clip that, because that really is it sums up exactly what Vector is saying, and the fact that they are explicitly and implicitly trusting each other. Every call that is made, they're saying like, okay, yeah, leave the ball, go for the bump. Okay, I'm gonna do exactly that, And in a game such as Rocket League, sometimes that can be quite difficult, leaving the ball for your teammate. There's always that mentality of, I think I could probably do better than my teammate, or I have a better vision. But sometimes if you have this trust, they're able to execute. However, Minty putting a second one in for Nezuko gang, and right now Minty waking up just a little bit. We know what his mechanics can do. Brilliant dribble from him, able to slot it into the back of the net, and so maybe Minty needed a bit of a taste of what it's like to score once again, and maybe this is his way back in for this Nezuko gang side.
It may be. It could have just been that he took a little bit of time to warm up, and he's finally found himself here in game 3. It's a free shot from Panda's just about saved off to the backboard, but Pyro's up for it, doesn't get the best touch. Back to the midfield. Eevee kind of throws away possession. But we had the scoreline 2-1, and with about, I think, 2 minutes 50 left to go, which is a lot sooner than the first two games. Panda tries to finish this one off. Minty goes for the second. It's there. They finally take a lead back in game 3. I think they took the lead in games 1 and 2 first, but they'd lost them. Hopefully they won't lose this one. There's still plenty of time for them to do so. But going back to what we were talking about, the team play, it can be difficult to just allow your team to play, because you feel like if things aren't going well, especially, that you want to step up, you want to be that player that goes and does everything themselves and is essentially the hero for your team. You want to start to try and carry if things aren't working out, but it very rarely works. I mean, we can't all be Destiny, we can't all expect to have that mechanical ability and things to almost always work out. But it gets to a point, as Dispatcher tries to finish this one off back to the backboard, that you just understand your teammates on a level that's hard to explain. You don't even need communication for a lot of that. But it's not working out anymore for Spark, as Panda finishes this one off.
Yeah, this, I mean, I did call a 3-1. I'm just saying. It's nice to be correct once in my casting career so far. But it does look like this, this Nezuko gang side are warming up a little bit. They seem to be trusting each other a little bit more. However, Spark, they did have an opportunity to score, moments before Nezuko gang put in their 4th goal. So I think Spark definitely still have the capability here. I think they definitely still can be slotting goals away, but they're just not capitalizing as well as they were in the first 2 games. Remember, guys, Nezuko gang are down 0-2 against Spark in this playoff match, playoff series. So it's still very much Nezuko gang trying to keep their lives alive. It is a best of 5, so their life is on the line. They've decided to turn up, but this Spark side, anything can happen. We saw how quickly, and it took them 15 seconds to score 2 goals in the first game, and so I'd still be on the edge of my seat if I was a Nezuko gang fan.
It will need to be a reverse sweep, 3 games on the bounce. They're looking like they're going to take the first one here. But I've seen some smart third man play from Nezuko in this last game. They're waiting back, they're playing patient. I mean, we know they don't need to rush because they've already got 2 goals up. But sometimes being too defensive can be a detriment. It can take away a lot of opportunities that you might have had to pad that score even more, as this one hits the ground. Nezuko take game 3, just about managing to bring that one back. They lost the lead early on, going 2-1 to Spark again, but they found some form and scored a couple more to finish that one off. And I think it may have just been a mentality issue coming in against a Spark side that they didn't know what to expect. They obviously didn't face them in the first round, and they might not have seen them in league play for quite a while. So it could have just been that they didn't know how to play at the start. And looking at the stats, looking at the scoreline, they seem to have figured that out now.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like Minty has woken up a little bit. He's 600 points, 2 goals with only 2 shots, 100% shot completion from him. Got assists, got 3 saves. It definitely looks like that, all-star player that we know and love to be Minty has woken up here. And so it's really good to see. And now it's Spark's turn to kind of answer back. How are they going to adapt to Nezuko gang being, what we expect from them? They obviously place second to them in the league. So I think it's still all to play for. Spark still up 2-1 in this series. However, Nezuko gang finally woken up. Minty is back to play along with his teammates Panda and Pyro. So anything still to play for here. And guys, you have to remember that if Spark take this game, Nezuko gang will be knocked down to the losers bracket. So this is tough stuff.
Decent kickoff for Spark to open this up. Almost a quick goal as Dispatcher goes up to follow, but great play from Pyro to keep that away from him into the corner. But Eevee with a free shot, it goes in off of Panda's nose. Very quick start for Spark, just 11 seconds in. They do not want to go down to the lower bracket whatsoever.
What a finish as well. I mean, Yeah, it was unfortunate from Panda to touch it in, but to find that angle regardless from Eevee, that was brilliant positioning from the car and able to slot that one in. So Spark wanting to start off strong, and they definitely seem more comfortable when they are on this aggressive front foot in that attacking mindset. That's where they are most suited. As almost the second one goes in as well, just being a clutch save from Minty to keep this, this lead to, this deficit to 1 goal only. And right now the rotation is from the Spark side, doing them dividends to see if he's able to put some more pressure on. A nice little dink touch is going to play it over. Minty able to keep Axel with the ball. Is he going to look for his teammate to pop it into the center? He has popped it down to Eevee, but not able to get that shot off. As a brilliant 50-50 coming out from Panda, who's able to slow that attack down. And now Nezuko again looking to put some pressure on of their own. However, the touch from Minty is going to pop it nice and high for Axel to get a nice easy clearance. Pyro gets a 50 with Dispatcho, and the ball going flying off the backboard. Anyone there to follow it up? No. Minty though trying to track the ball forward. Eevee is there waiting and reading the trajectory really well. Once again off the backboard, and currently the Spark side just peppering the backboard of Nezuko Gang, making it incredibly uncomfortable for them to defend.
Great pass by Minty up to Panda to try to reconnect again as Pyro goes for the third follow, but Axel just about there. The third man play from Spark hasn't been as strong as we saw it in the last few games. Seem to be leaving a few gaps back. As I say that, Panda with the terrible third man play off the crossbar. Dispatcho, easy finish for Spark. They take a 2-goal lead. I think that's the first in the series. And this is looking a bit dire for Nezuko. They're just not controlling that back. I think they're rushing a little too much. They feel like they need to get one over on Spark before they start scoring goals. That like it's going to be inevitable that they're going to score goals. And I think because of that mentality, it's seeping into their play style, and it's just leaving massive swaths of space in their backfield.
Yeah, and I really think also that we do see both teams going for bumps and demos, throughout the whole game. However, Spark are utilizing that space when there's a demo or a bump. They're really trying to play into it, and they also bump and demo on defense, and that kind of shuts down, what Nezuko Gang like to do, which is, play for each other. And Dispatcho with the speed demon he is, slotting one in, beating out, I believe that was Pyro, to the ball, slowing a third one in. So it's 3-0 to this Spark side over Nezuko Gang. I mean, Vector, we just didn't see this coming.
I mean, I think you did. You predicted 3-1 at the start.
3-1, yeah.
It's looking that way so far. I mean, that entire thing was set up by Eevee as he goes for another brilliant air dribble here. He pushed it to the corner. He forced the defense to make a decision to get in the way of the ball. But they just fall apart as soon as the ball is hit at them. They just don't know what to do unless things go exactly their way. But Minty puts one away here off a mistake from Spark. I believe this was, Axel is the third man. Didn't quite know what to do as Panda was hurtling in. And Eevee not quite there. I mean, I don't know if they can bring this back. They probably can. They managed to score 4 in the last game after all. But with such a strong lead for Spark already, if they could figure out what they're doing, not giving up too much space on the counter. There's another one from Panda here, almost goes in. And they could probably take this series 3-1 like you predicted.
Yeah, right now Spark looking very strong. However, you cannot count out Nezuko Gang. They are #1 in the league for a reason. And Minty slotting a brilliant shot into the back of the net off a brilliant pass coming out from Panda. Plays it off the backboard. And right now, they're straight back into this game. It is 3-2. Is the comeback on the cards?
I mean, it is at the moment. It's only a 1-goal game. Plenty of time left to go, but that also means plenty of time for Spark to increase their lead. We've seen some strange defensive mistakes from Spark. I think Dispatcho had to go up and try and challenge that. Had to respect the play. But Eevee looked like they kind of panicked on the backboard. There's another one for Pyro. We finally have a tie game with 2 minutes left to go. What is happening to Spark's midfield right now?
I don't really know what's happened in this game. I swear 10 seconds ago, Spark were up 3-0. Like, what's going on?
Nezuko waking up, like you said. Minty is playing it as well as we wanted him to, as we hoped him to, as we know he can. And I just think Spark, I mean, it could be complacency. It could be that they expect to be, they're playing so well, they almost get another one here that they don't feel like they need to defend. Sometimes it can be that one little thing, that clinch moment, like a boost steal in midfield or a demo just coming off to the backfield rotation, a double commit save from Spark that can open it up and make the difference and be a goal. I mean, sometimes it's not an overarching thing. It's not a whole like, oh, you're playing terrible on defense the entire game, for example, or midfield or whatever. It can just be one little thing that can knock a team out completely out of rotation, and that can be the difference between a goal and a save.
I totally see what you're saying. It's almost that mental block of defense, you know. Everyone thinks they should, you know, it's like you're doing so well on attack. What's the point of defending, you know? But right now we see Dispatcher trying to put another one on. It's been Spark on the offense for the past couple of seconds. Once again, a good 50-50 between Axel and Panda in the center is going to leave Dispatcher with a nice three-toucher. Plays it off the ceiling. Maybe not exactly what to do. However, his teammate Evie was there. Dispatcher trying to follow it up once again. Try to play it off the backboard. Anywhere to follow it up. Axel almost goes for the shot. Decides not to. Focusing on that rotation instead, which is a good job indeed, as we see the ball go flying from Panda's touch into their half. The ball goes across goal. The shot should go in from Minty, and once again Spark's defense looking scattered and sporadic.
It's a vicious dunk from Minty, an unbelievable read coming off of Evie's hood there, somehow managing to take the lead. It feels like they're not controlling the corners at all, Spark. They just don't know what to do when it gets into those positions on the field. And like you said, the idea that if you're constantly on attack, if you're always heavy offense, that you can just keep your opponent pinned into their own half, take away all their boost, and they just won't be able to score. But clearly that play style is not working. It's high risk, high reward for Spark, and right now they're taking all the risk and very little of the reward. They try to get another one here to finish it off. Evie managed to get it to the ceiling. There are two players in the box, but this was bouncing. It was going in, but not enough time. 1 or 2 seconds more, they could have tied this one up, but they don't manage to do so as Nezuko gang take game 3.
Oh, you know, if there was another second on the clock, that was going in. That's crazy how close these two teams are, but you know, my prediction has fallen through. We have a game 5. And so my prediction's out the window. It's gone. It's shot to pieces. Vector, we could be looking at a reverse sweep here potentially.
Yeah, I miscasted that. It was not game 3. It was game 4. I'm not keeping track. There's been so many goals to commentate over to understand how just these things are going so back and forth. I mean, they have to get a reverse sweep if they want to stay in the upper bracket. I thought it might be a 3-2. I didn't know if it would quite end up going this way, them having to fight back. But because it's only been a 1-goal game in 3 of the games of this series, I can't call it. There's no way to tell who is going to turn up in what game, because they both have the capability. They've proven it clearly, having pushed us to a game 5. But I still want to stick to Nezuko gang, just because the third man plays stepped up really well. They're controlling the pushes, the counter-attacking plays so much more. It's not just haphazard, they're not just thrown together. And they've been pushing Spark back into their own half, confusing them on defense and in the rotations. And I think that's what's going to be the difference in the game 5.
I could not agree more. And it has been a battle of the defenses this game, this series so far. As Axel is there, trying to put some pressure onto Nezuko gang's half. Goes to the 50-50 on with Panda. Washi does not come away favourable. Is Panda once again falling off, trying to go off the sideboard, popping it down into the midfield, trying to go for a flick, but doesn't calculate it perfectly, allowing the time for Evie to get a touch. And Dispatcher is there to follow it up once again. Minty trying to go for this booming clearance and does so. Panda maybe looking for the redirect, actually tries to pass it to his teammate. Minty puts it goal on. What a team play out, Nezuko.
Just before this play happened, Minty was actually having some, I think, connection issues on his own goal line. Comes hurtling up the field to play it to Panda, and I think Pyro was waiting to finish this one off, but Minty called him off, finished it to the right-hand side. Great way for them to start just 30 seconds into game 5. They're going to want to keep this lead throughout the entire game and hopefully get more of those passing plays. If you just take your opponent out of the entire field, out of the entire situation, then it really doesn't matter how it's going to work. As another one finished off from Pyro. I think Evie had some panicking issues just on the edge of her box, or his box.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on in this game. Minty had connection issues, came back, flew down the field, scored one, and then Eevee, I don't know, had some connection issues, but in the brain at the edge of his box and wasn't able to process information fast enough. This has allowed Nezuko to take a 2-0 lead. Make it a 3-0 lead is Panda, the Mr. Black and White himself. He's made the score difference even more dividend than what a Panda's nature is. Unbelievable play from him. 3-0 to Nezuko, gang. I did not see this coming after the first 2 games.
I mean, me either. I mean, to be fair, in the last game, Spark did this exact same thing. They took a 3-goal lead before Nezuko ever replied. The same thing is happening here. I don't know if it's going to go backwards. It's an awkward touch from Axel, puts that towards his own net. Luckily, didn't have much power. Dispatchio can clean it up. Tries to get something up the field. Minty misses it. Pyro's control it. Straight back to Eevee. Off to the backboard for Panda to deal with. Doesn't get the best touch as Axel keeps this attack alive. Puts it back to the midfield, but there's no one there to follow it. I think dispatched into the corner. Try and get some disruption play going, but that communication breakdown, that mispositioning from them could be dangerous. But a play from Eevee to push away the third man opens this up for Dispatchio to finish a pretty easy shot.
Yeah, and that was a brilliant play from Eevee, actually, because Minty was in the best position to get this save. And the pressure from Eevee is forced off that line, and so a little bit of panic, but Dispatcho will always capitalize on shots like that. As Minty going for a very early shot, but Axel came soaring across and provided a spanner in the works to stop a 4th goal from going in. 3 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. 3-1 lead to Nezuko, gang. In this game 5, can Spark bring it back in this game? As a brilliant squishy save coming out of him. Eevee's pulling out all the tricks in the book. I'm waiting for that Cookseer finish to come out.
It was actually Panda that had the squishy save. Came all the way through. It was after he tried to go for a disruption, a bump play, and came out of the goal to save that one. Eevee actually put it onto his own net, but somehow that defense for Panda, wrong side of the field, but it worked out for Spark. They don't quite go to a 3-goal deficit once again.
Oh, Dispatcher, though, doing work here. Puts it into the center with a brilliant play. Unfortunately, nobody on his team there to make that shot count. As Minty now doing a good job aerialing it to himself. Tries to go for the catch, plays it into the center where Dispatcher is waiting, looking for a bit of a push forward here. The touch doesn't come out from Panda, unfortunately, allowing Eevee to once again play over to the opposite corner. And right now, it looks like Nezuko are kind of applying pressure on the defense. They're not being afraid to make these challenges. Dispatcher going for a shot onto goal, allowing Axel to put one in. It is 3-2. Vector, I'm having a bit of PTSD from the first game.
I mean, it could be happening that same way. It was a great effort from Dispatcho to try and put that in the right-hand corner to sneak it away. I don't think Pyro had any opportunity to stop this one. There's the follow-up from Axel. A shot that's off target can just become a pass if your teammate is in the right position. Managed to bring this back to a 1-goal game as Nezuko go on the counter. Minty tries to get it past 1, but Axel does well to get it past 2. Back up the field, doesn't have boost to do anything else. Dispatcher waits, and this opens it up for Panda, but can he get back to it? He does manage to do so. 4-2. The same scoreline I think we had in game 2 or 3. And I don't see how Nezuko can throw this one after what I've seen from them.
Do you realise what you've just said? You said you don't think Nezuko can throw this. And I don't know if you've ever heard of something called the curse of the castle. Alright? So Archeon's in the chat. Archeon, if you guys lose this game, blame it on Vector. Alright, I'm just saying. I'm
only human. Don't blame it on me. Okay? We have to trust that they can hold a lead. They're the first seed. They have to be able to do that. But Axel going up here, air dribbles past 3 defenders. I don't know what to think anymore.
Me neither. This game, this series is completely intoxicating. I don't even know if I'm seeing cars or whether I'm seeing boats on this field, because both these teams are trying to park the boat in front of their own goals. But as I'm saying that, Dispatcher is like, here, Panda, have another goal.
This wasn't quite a kickoff goal, I don't think, because it went to Dispatcio, putting it into the midfield. I think it was going for a quick offense to get it up to one of his teammates, but it just opens up for Panda to finish it. That gives him his hat-trick, I believe.
I believe so,
As
yeah.
a 2-goal lead with a minute left to go. I mean, we've seen it happen before where Spark come back, they do something ridiculous, or Nezuko do something ridiculous. But I don't think they're gonna do it again. There's a bomb fight in me there.
Panda! What was that? He goes to the air dribble bumper. Look at this play! Oh my word!
Air supremacy from Panda. This is a no-fly zone, mate. You ain't getting to that ball. As they take a 3-goal lead with a minute left. I don't think they're gonna throw it at this point up.
I don't know what to believe anymore. Panda just doing work. I didn't realize these endangered species can fly now. Oh my lord. 6-3 in favor of Nezuko gang. Spark, though, making this incredibly difficult. And if it wasn't for the man who is sat with 4 goals in this game, this series could be totally different. But right now, 20 seconds remaining. It's almost all but over for Spark. This Panda does get a bit of a mistouch here, allowing Evie to play a shot on. Did anyone follow it up? No, Dispatcher isn't able to get the shot on once again. 10 seconds remaining. Vector, you called it.
I called it. We had to go the long way. We had to go through the reverse sweep, but Panda clutched it up 4 for 4 in that game, completely controlling it. And I expected this. I expected Game 5. I think we both. Well, you wanted it. You expected 3-1, but I think
we expected it. You know,
in your heart you wanted a Game 5.
Yeah.
And I mean, it could have gone either way. That's why I went for the tried and true, the Nezuko gang with the first seed. I didn't expect it to be so one-sided in the last game, but Panda came in.
But can I just say what's incredible about Panda's stats right now is he hit some incredible shots, incredible plays, but he had 100% shot accuracy. He scored 4 goals in 4 shots. I mean, what? Guys, Archeon, whoever's in the chat, any mods, if you clip that goal, can you please send it to Senji? Because maybe we can get a replay up, because I have to see that air dribble bump from that man. He just said, no, Spark, here's a bit of water, because I want to put that flame out. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He was the flood that washed Spark to the lower bracket. They're going to have to fight for their lives now. It is Elimination Rocket League from this point on. They may come back to meet them in the grand final, but they'll have to do it in 2 best-of-7s at minimum. 8 games of Rocket League, they'll have to beat them. They only just lost to them here in a best-of-5. But if Panda can keep that up, if Minty can move up to that level as well as Pyro, I think you see your grand finalists right here taking it on.
You're calling it now? You're saying Nezuko gang?
I think I am. I mean, you said that if this went wrong for them, if they threw it, to blame me. But what about praising me? I have complete faith. I have complete belief.
I'd never had any doubt. All right, okay. I'm just saying. I never doubt a man with glasses. And look, we have 2 of them here on the desk. All right, so you just don't doubt a man with glasses. Because you know they're right every single time. And I believe we are actually going to stay live right now. We're not going to have a break, because we're going to go straight in to Spark versus Astro. So Spark, I mean, what I feel right now is they might be fairly hot right now after that game. Yeah, they may have this mental block and the fact they've just lost here, but that almost will ignite a bit of a fight behind them, pardon the pun. I mean, so taking that out and then going against Astro, what do you think Spark's mentality is right now?
Well, they're coming off the last game, obviously still hot. They're warmed up completely. I mean, that's the same for Astro, obviously coming off the lower bracket run there. They played at the same time that we did on the stream, so both these teams are coming into it hot. I don't know the exact scoreline or series scoreline for Astro there. Don't know how they did against Vauxhall. Obviously, they beat them, so they'll be coming to this a bit more with a bit more mentality. Obviously, they won, but they're still in Elimination Rocket League. That doubt is still there in the back of their minds that they're going to have to fight a very strong-looking Spark side. It did manage to go to Game 5 in the upper final, and the lower final now. I think the mentality changes a little bit. I think they'll be a little bit more defensive. They'll not be as sure of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think they'll be able to push through and beat this Astros side just based on their level of play against Nezuko.
Yeah. I think if the team, if there's going to be a team that takes down Nezuko, it's going to be Spark. And I think whatever was said after that, the first two games, whether Archeon went in and gave his wisdom, his eternal wisdom to that team, I don't know. But whatever was said to them, it worked. And so Spark kind of just need to also have that sort of that mental sort of ability to. They took the first two games, they lost the third. They then need to approach the fourth game with a different sort of mindset, saying, okay, we can lose. What do we need to do to mitigate what Nezuko Gang are doing right? Because Nezuko Gang, they adapted, they changed the way that Spark were playing, and they overcame them. But Spark, they just kept on doing the same thing, thinking they would be able to get a win. Granted, they were close, but in the end of it, Panda just said no.
Panda did